Hi, it's Chris with the 10-Minute Writer. Quick tips to make your stories better. And today I'm going to talk about plotting a novel with a few tips specifically on mysteries. I got the idea for this video because one of my critique clients mentioned that she thought it would be interesting to see how I plotted a specific novel. And I was about to start work on the seventh book in the Accidental Detective series. So I took a few pictures and notes that I could share. It's important to remember that there isn't a single right way to do basically anything in writing. Different authors have techniques that work for them, and it may even be different from book to book. I have written books where I just started writing and saw what happened. I find that works a little better for romance than for mysteries, which have to have a little bit more complex plot with lots of clues. I've written books where I had a complete detailed outline before I ever started, and I've written books where I had kind of a loose outline and then figured things out as I went along. And in this case, it's more like the latter. Because this was a later book in the series, I already had the main character, the secondary characters, the setting, and the voice. So I was really just looking to build a strong plot for a mystery novel. I keep a lot of notes on story ideas. I used to use a recipe box and just write notes on cards for various ideas and stick them in there. So when I needed an idea, I could go look through those. For this series, I have a document on my computer where I keep track of thoughts and ideas that are maybe not complete enough to be a full mystery, but might inspire something. And that can be things that other people mention to me, like a friend in Seattle who told the story about her daughter's Kia getting stolen. And Kias are very commonly stolen because there's a way to hack the ignition system, and people were stealing them, ramming them through the walls of marijuana dispensaries, and so that they could get in, steal drugs and money, and escape leaving the stolen car behind. So that seemed like had potential for mystery there. I have unusual murder methods, or when people come up with um, comments about those, and just any kind of ideas I had for mysteries I kept in this document. So when I was getting ready to plot this novel, and I had a few other novels also scheduled over the next couple of years, printed out my idea notes and kind of went through figuring out which ones appealed to me the most, which seemed like they could make a good, strong mystery plot, and combining more than one into some books. So the numbers on the side there are which book I might use a particular idea in, either in this series or in a new mystery series that I've started. And for this particular one I'm writing now, I chose 3 ideas that I thought would potentially make interesting mysteries. And I was going to have my characters work on all 3 of those and maybe have a couple of them be linked together. Then I made some notes on how I thought the novel might start. And first, I was thinking, well, Kate, my main character, and her sister Jen have been wanting to become private investigators, but in Arizona, where this series is set, you need a 3-year internship. Well, maybe this is the book where they actually meet up with a private eye and start working on that. But I couldn't figure out how to link that to the particular mysteries that I wanted them to solve in this book. So I crossed that out, and I had some other ideas that I figured out how I could maybe work on introducing the 3 mysteries that I wanted. And I went ahead and wrote those opening chapters, but then I got stuck because I couldn't figure out how they would investigate some of these things. It's Phoenix is too big a city. They didn't have enough leads. I was about to go on a writing retreat then, and I find writing retreats a great place to work on brainstorming and plotting. And one way I like to do that is by getting these cards. I'm using the back of some publicity postcards that I made years ago, and the book title and cover have changed, so those are out of date. Just recycling them as cards for these brainstorming notes. And I had the 3 different types of mysteries, so I could think about each one individually, what the main characters might do to try to make progress on that, unusual twists, and so forth. So on these plotting cards, I might even sometimes have one that just says, car chase or fight scene or something that potentially I could work in to add some more physical drama. And I did use some color coding here to figure out how these three different mysteries related. And it might start with something as simple as the card on the left, dinner with Todd, dog napping. So she goes to dinner with her boyfriend and his two teenage boys. And the boys mention that some dogs have been stolen in the neighborhood and they're worried about their dog. But then as I try to work back and forth between these, I can mention some other things that could go in that scene. So if they're also working on this mystery or problem of squatters having taken over this house and refusing to leave, maybe she mentions it there. Maybe she shows the boys a picture of somebody, and that's going to lead to things in the future. I numbered the cards, but then I also figured out later that, well, maybe I actually want to flip them around a little bit more still. In the upper right, where I have dog on the one card and SQ for squatters, arrow leading to drugs, those are my three mysteries they're trying to solve. And having those notes helped me see how I could sort of weave back and forth between them so I didn't drop one for 8 chapters while I was just focusing on the others. And then towards the bottom of the card on the right, that orange was what I was using to do notes on subplots that have to do with family relationships or relationships with her boyfriend, other things that are going into the novel to give it that added depth. And I could again kind of make sure that I was dropping those things in throughout the story. So from there, I just have my note cards, and some people will perhaps want to put that into an outline on the computer. I just work directly from the note cards, and I can add and change and shuffle things around as I get new ideas. So on to the quick mystery tips. I was in a Zoom chat with some other authors. We were all working on mysteries, and someone mentioned that you have to know who did it before you start. And I said, I don't always know who did it. Sometimes I know, sometimes I have an idea, but I change my mind. I come up with something better. And sometimes I just don't even know. I just start writing the story and I figure it out as I go along. And the way to do that is I just make sure that there are plenty of suspects and all of them are guilty of something. So you want to weave in those red herrings, and they can come from somebody having a secret. They're not necessarily the killer or guilty of the particular crime being investigated, but they're guilty of something else. And so they're going to lie to your investigator about what they were doing or where they were or what time something happened. They're hiding something. So if you make sure that everybody has some kind of secret or something that they're trying to protect or a reason that they're not going to tell the truth or not be helpful, then you automatically have those red herrings and you give your main character more to investigate as well. So when you're setting up your mystery, don't just think about who actually did it and the clues that you're going to weave in for them. Think about making other characters guilty of things so that you have secrets and red herrings and that kind of complexity. And then just a few days ago, I got a clues letter, a newsletter from an author and Instagrammer who goes by Mystery Manon. And she mentioned a 1-minute mystery from 1932 that she had read on TikTok and got a lot of views. And I listened to that mystery and noted that it's not long, it's only about a minute to read it. It doesn't have a lot of character development. It doesn't have a lot of setting. It's really just plot. And in that very short time, you want to make sure that there are those red herrings, those distracting clues. And so a 1-minute mystery might have a lot of numbers in particular. So they're interviewing the suspect and they say, I left at 9:23 and I came back at about 10:45. And I think I went, about a mile before I found this. And so a lot of those details, and the reader can get caught up in trying to figure out which of those is important and, doing the math and how long they were gone and would they haven't had enough time to go that far and all those things. And that helps disguise the one clue that's going to be important in a 1-minute mystery. So in a novel, you might see the victim had, say, a bag full of things that they're looking through, and there's a movie ticket stub, and there's some receipts, and there's a book of matches from a particular restaurant. And within all these items, there will be one thing that's specific, but there'll be a lot of other things that are acting as distractions. And that way your investigator seems clever for picking out the really important thing, and your reader may struggle a little bit to figure out what is that important thing. So if you're building a mystery, you want to make sure you have those extra details that might be important but might not, so that the reader doesn't just pick up on the one very obvious clue that you dropped here and then the other obvious clue you dropped there. So that's it for today. If you want to dive deeper into plotting, I have an online on-demand course on advanced plotting and also a book called Advanced Plotting. And you can find out more about those by going to my chrisebach.com website and to the For Writers tab, and it will have the links and ways to sign up to join the class or to get the book. So I hope you have found that helpful. And that's it for today.